How's it going, traders? Papa Wall Street back with another weekend review. Today we're going to look at my top tech sector charts, or not even just tech. You're going to get some other, maybe Goldman Sachs in there. I wouldn't say Goldman Sachs is tech. That's certainly financial sector. But regardless, these are generally my top tech charts that I'm going to be watching going into next week, as well as some updates on trade alerts that I have put out to my private community. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel if you like this actionable content. Feel free to subscribe. I will put out these chart videos at least once a week, sometimes twice if I'm feeling froggy. But if you can, it's totally up to you. It really helps me if you can, but leave a comment down below. Even if it's just to say hi, really helps me with the algorithms. I'm trying to grow my YouTube content to get my information out there to as many people as possible. And if you feel if I'm talking too slow, make sure to watch these videos at 1.5 speed. And keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm merely doing this for educational purposes only. So let's dig into the charts. And so the first name we're going to take a look at is Apple. Now, full disclosure, I did put out this trade alert back on 5/18, and you could see that we failed at 150, and that sent us much lower. It sent us down to around 131. But we're right back at 150. Nice V-shaped recovery after hitting these lows. So watch 150. This has been a contentious level. It was acted as support and resistance, back here and back here. So keep a close eye on this level. I think this is a very key level, not only for Apple, but I think for the market, because Apple has such a big holdings in this market that I think the market goes as Apple goes and Apple goes as the market goes. So we do have an inbound death cross coming, but I think if we break 150, we'll probably chop up to whatever this declining 50 simple moving average hits. Maybe we see 153, 157. Regardless, in this market, this is a very tradable move. Not saying we're heading back to 164 or 176 or even to all-time highs. We have to take it one day at a time. But I do feel we break 150, and I think 153 and 157 are my targets to the upside, and I think they're very achievable this week. Next up is AMD. Again, I always want to just be full disclosure here. I initially had this as a head and shoulders. Clearly, that's what it looks like. It gapped below our neckline. We moved right down to that 1272 extension, double bottom. We tried to break higher and we couldn't. And now we're right back over 100. So if you watched my previous video, my sector overview video, I talked about SMH and how I feel like if the market continues to bounce, if we continue to have this bear market rally, I'm really going to be watching, the AMDs and the NVIDIAs of the world, and even maybe an MU, which I feel like has been lagging, Micron. But right now, if we zoom into these targets, you can see that we are through 99.70, which was right at where the prior resistance was, here and here. And now also back through 100 and over our 50 simple moving average. So I think this gives us a clear shot potentially at 115. Not a lot of volume here, right? We've got our supply zone, our demand zone down here, our supply zone and our point of control here at around 115. So I'm watching to see, can we make a big move up to 115 this week? That's what I would be watching for on AMD. Next up is Amazon. If I zoom out a bit, Bart Simpson top. I did note that 2048 was a level to watch. Resistance, resistance, resistance. We broke out. We gapped below. We finally got a clean breakout, closing this gap up here. And now we're bouncing right off of that 2048 level, if I can get over to it. And 2186 was my first target to the upside. We hit that. 2338 is my next target to the upside. I'm looking to see if we hit that this week. And if we do, 2472 would be my next target to the upside. And I would always say, keep in mind those round numbers, 2400 always will come into play. Amazon's been definitely weaker, relatively speaking, to the other tech sector names. So just keep a close eye on that. And then I would say this is probably tradable up to this gap, maybe up to 2600. It wouldn't necessarily come in a week or two, but that would be my ultimate target if the bear market rally continues. Next up is CrowdStrike. I was really high on this name as the war in Ukraine broke out, and we did have a beautiful move up to 242, but we stopped right there. We had that kind of that false breakout over the 200 simple moving average, and it just went right back down and even lost this broadening formation here. But we've been chopping around. We had a nice 3-day rally off of the bottom. So I would watch 172, 185, and then basically $200 next. We're going to hit that point of control on volume. We're also hit that 50 simple moving average. That's where I would say be careful if you do take this trade if we come into these levels. But CrowdStrike looking pretty strong, as is most of tech here. Next up is Facebook. Beautiful gap up here. I think this is going to get really frothy once we get up to this level. And you can see, let me anchor this properly to the prior swing high here. You can see we've got a lot of demand down here. So once we get over 223.79, I think we got a clear shot at 244. And then over 244.88, basically 245, 250 to 300. I think that's open game. There's no volume here. So we can move really quickly. But for now, my first target is going to be 206. Watch 200. That will go to 206 pretty quickly. We've got our 50 simple moving average there. Then over 206, 216, 223, 244 to the upside. Next up is Google. And you can see Google had a beautiful run up, a lot of pennants and flags here. And then finally started to fail at 3,000. Came down, counter trend rally to 28.59, came all the way down almost to our 50% extension, or excuse me, 50% retracement, and then we started to bounce. Keep in mind, we've got a couple of key gaps below. Not all gaps need to be filled, but they generally do. So that leads me to believe we might see further decline in Google. But for now, again, very tradable bear market rally back higher. You can see we're going to come into a little bit of supply over 22.62, and then over 23.52, we've got a nice shot up to 25.50. So this would be the trade that I would be watching for. You know, basically from here to here, it's about an 8% move, but it's certainly tradable over 22.62. Here's my trade of the week last week. Goldman Sachs caught some bullish put writing earlier in the week on Monday on the 3x leveraged ETF for financials. That sent Goldman Sachs right up to that 50 simple moving average. I rolled up twice on, I took 3 trades, rolled up twice on Goldman Sachs. I had the 315s, the 320Cs, and the 325Cs, and then ended up down pretty heavy on those 325Cs by Tuesday. Those went down almost as much as 65, 70%. But because I rolled up with profit and profit only, I was able to hold on to that and basically broke even on Thursday. I added more contracts and then sold for a nice profit on Friday into 330. So going to watch for a continuation on Goldman Sachs this week. It looks pretty good. We also have a 1-dot squeeze set up on the TTM squeeze. 1-dot fired, I should say, after the TTM squeeze slingshot setup here, and plenty of room on RSI. I'm going to be watching over 330, 340, 345, 350. We're already over the 50 simple moving average, so 356 and 363 to the upside. And let me properly anchor this so we get a good understanding of where supply is to the upside. Let's go here. And yeah, so I think over 350, I think this thing really can start to move. So keep a close eye on that level. Next up is Microsoft. I'm going to anchor this properly first this time so we can see where supply is. And you could see not a lot of supply down here, but a lot of supply up here. So watch for Microsoft over, if we can hold over 270, 277, and then 281 to the upside. That's where we're going to hit our supply zone. And then we have that declining 50 simple moving average. So just be careful once we hit that level, but Microsoft looking pretty good for now. And then the other name, going back to semiconductors, was NVIDIA. Beautiful A, B, C retracement right off that 1618 extension to the downside. Big move on Thursday. Nice continuation on Friday through 183. Stopped at 188. 200 should come this week, barring any market meltdowns. And then over 200, 209, 216, 227 to the upside. Watch that declining 50 simple moving average. And I believe this could be tradable up to about 230, right at that 200 simple moving average. Again, I'm just giving you guidance on where I think the trades can go. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go all the way up, but I want to be prepared if we do go up that high. This would be the area I would watch for a big reversal back to the downside, or a key breakout where we can, test the top of this wedge and maybe, go back to all-time highs. I don't necessarily see that happening right away, but, of course, we want to have plans to the upside and to the downside. And last but not least is Tesla, my favorite stock to trade. I did have our wave 5 high up here. I thought I had this as an ABC correction. It actually starting to look like a WXY. Potential low in at 627.70. Personally, I had us coming down to about 500, 550. I still think that can happen in time, but I have to, just be really observant of the market and respectful of the move that Tesla made. So we are back through 700, which I felt under 700. I definitely thought we were going to test that level. Now that we're over 700, I'm going to be continuing to play Tesla back to the upside until the technicals tell me otherwise. So 773, 800, 827, 873 to the upside potential. We did get our death cross here on Wednesday. So I still feel like this can go up as high as maybe 900 in the coming weeks, maybe even 915 before we see any serious resistance. You can see we're anchored to the swing high here, which is our all-time high. Look at where all the supply is. It's all up here. Very little demand down here. So watch for this move. It can continue to move. You know how Tesla is. You got to watch the personality of the stock. You have to understand the personality of how it moves. Look, how many days green? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 green days in a row. We only have 3 here. I'm not saying it's going to go 10 days green, but it can. And if it does, we're going to 915. That's what I'm saying. Look back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days green, 1 red, then 1, 2, 3, 4 more days green, then 2 red, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more days green, right? You can see a move like that here. You have to understand the personality of the stock. Tesla can make big moves before you even blink your eye. So keep a close eye. This is why Tesla, for me, is one of my favorite stocks to trade, because it's so wild. But, you have to just be careful when you're trading it. So those are the top tech names, plus Goldman Sachs, that we're going to be watching for this week. Or when I say we, I really mean me. But we as a collective, right? So, listen, if you love this content, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I do put out multiple videos per week on YouTube. I am putting out posts on Twitter every day, multiple times a day. And then I have my paid community, my Pup University members, where I put out trade ideas every day. I do multiple videos per week that only they see and I don't release to the public. Plus I have a whole educational platform behind the scenes that only my paid members get to see. So if that's of interest to you, I'll drop those links down below. But once again, appreciate it. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Keep in mind, for you active weekly options traders, we are in a holiday shortened week, so Theta will eat away at those contracts quicker this week than most. So just be careful out there. Keep in mind, this is a bear market rally. Got to treat it like that. There's always that potential for reversal back to the downside. If that happens, I will be there and I'll give you actionable trades to the downside as well. So enjoy this video, and if you like, leave a comment and down below, and like and subscribe to the channel if you can. Have a great day, everyone.